Well, let's talk a little bit about her cabinet because that's the major issue. I haven't seen anything come in yet. We're supposed to hear. I think it's at 11, another hour from now. We take this on Thursday morning, and she does have a number of appointments that she's already made. Let's look at who's already in place. I mean, Hammond has been promoted up to Chancellor. That means that Osbourne has been unceremoniously dumped. So there goes the Cameron Osbourne clique right out the window.
I mean, and Hammond, he's a worrying figure. He's got very worrying views on homosexuality as well, isn't he?
Yes, he does. He has huge. He's got issues on. He's very much an anti-gay. Didn't like the idea of the cabinet coming out in favor of gay marriage or same-sex marriage, and he was also former defense secretary, very much on spending more in the military, which drove David Cameron a little bit crazy.
Yes, yeah. What do you make of him, Ryan?
Well, he's out of the lot of them. He's probably a safer pair of hands, but his priorities probably don't quite align with mine. But it'll be interesting to see what will happen now that Theresa May's kind of said, let's tackle inequality, let's look at social justice, whether or not she still considers his priorities to be the same.
6 minutes ago, Robert Peston of ITV has tweeted, at Theresa May will be doing the ministerial sackings first thing this morning, I suspect. At Michael Gove will be the one asked to return to the backbenches. So that's not much of a surprise because of the way in which he backstabbed Boris, and Boris is now in a very senior
exactly.
position.
I mean, Boris is in, then goes out, isn't he?
Which leads us to the second major candidate, which is Boris Johnson. The White House is quite displeased, as is the State Department, with this.
I'm not surprised.
The spokesman came out and said, it'll be business as usual, but the spokesperson did not have all the information. He was kind of blindsided, as was Theresa, not Theresa May, but the one of the Labour candidates, Andrea, was blindsided when she learned that Boris Johnson was to be the Foreign Secretary, the Secretary of State. This
is a man who described Obama as part Kenyan.
Yeah,
isn't he? I mean, what is that all about? You couldn't make it up, could you, as they say in tabloids?
You are the nation's external diplomat. You have to be able to go to every country, talk to every ambassador, represent the United Kingdom. And this is a guy who came into the Olympics on a frickin' zip line. What's your thought, Ryan?
If you Google Boris Johnson, all you find is pictures of him looking like a clown. So, I mean, it's no matter what he does, made Britain look partially more like a clown than we were a week ago, which is quite something. But I don't really understand, other than the fact that he was a Brexiteer, he's popular with the members, and Theresa May hasn't been elected by them. That's the only reason I can even think why they could justify putting him there.
Well, I mean, him in combination with David Davis, who is in a new role, which will be the Secretary for Exiting Europe. I'm sure that'll become a cabinet minister. And he's in from out of the wilderness. And Liam Fox is now the new Secretary for International Trade, out of the wilderness.
That's pretty shocking.
Those are essentially three Brexiteers focused on every aspect of how we're actually going to get out of this predicament that we're in. But the problem is that I think Boris is actually, there's a couple things working there. You got, someone once said, if you really want to punish somebody, you give them authority so that they have to learn how to behave. And then the interesting thing, though, is that the real foreign policy is going to be conducted by Theresa May herself, by David Davis, by Liam Fox. So he's going to be basically left with the crumbs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thinking, is it? The Foreign Secretary supposedly doesn't have the heft of the other ones. I mean, it's just almost a ceremonial role. But I mean, what an image does that present of Britain? When he's there representing us.
Well, Amber Rudd moved up from Energy to Home Secretary. Now, that's a pretty stunning rise. And Ryan, you had some pretty good thoughts on her.
Yeah, she's only been in the cabinet just over a year, I think. So, I mean, that is one hell of a jump.
Well, she's only been in Parliament for 6 years, so
Yeah, and it's quite phenomenal, really. But yeah, I mean, she did relatively good stuff recently, despite all of the kind of the fanfare to do with leaving Europe. She still enacted, in fact, almost strengthened the sort of climate reduction targets that we were going for.
Yeah. I mean, of all of them, I'm more sympathetic towards Amber Rudd, I must say.